out of watching much of anything on TV. Most people watch it for entertainment, not to be challenged. Take up some college classes if that's what you're after. Most of the stuff on TV these days is crap. But if people like it, then they like it. Stop criticizing her, Mr. Poet. I think it is something important to keep in mind that everything
Poet?
Yeah, I know. Everything that you see on TV is designed just to grab your attention. Their incentive is not to give you anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can agree, like, when it comes to televised stuff, like, that's the case for news, it's the case for anything that you think, like, oh, it's informative, like, this, whatever. It's like, their goal is only to keep you watching.
Yes.
They are not interested in actually making you a better person after this, like, when it comes to TV, from big things.
If you want to learn something cool, you go to TikTok. Hank Green will pop up, and he'll tell you cool things.
Get all your facts from TikTok.
Don't look into
that
it.
I have learned.
So there's two things in my mind right now. First of all, a lot of these Reddit stories kind of feel like when when someone's venting to you about something and they kind of don't really care about what they're saying as much as they're leading on, where it's more like they just want to say get this feeling off their chest.
Yep.
Where it's easy to imagine that it's not that it's actually a deal breaker. It's just that it's like, oh, this thing
barely
kind of
did
annoys
anything.
me. And then the second thing I wanted to say was, I guess it seems like a thing where they might just want to have a conversation about, like, balancing what, who, if they're watching something for who, if you want to watch Breaking Bad, maybe there should be a point in time where you get to choose to watch Breaking Bad,
Mm-hmm. Well, what I do agree with is it does sound like this is very much the girl, based on this story, they're watching mostly what the girlfriend is interested in watching.
Yeah.
And not as much, like, it'd be okay if it was just like, oh, can we watch something I pitched tonight? Like, I have something I want to watch with you.
Yeah, maybe this is a situation where there's something else going on. Maybe I was wrong.
Well, I think it's more of a thing about, like, no, I think you're right. Like, there's got to be a balance, and it is no longer about, like, who gets to pick what we watch tonight. It's like, I want to pick what we watch tonight. And let me also tell you why this is going to be a little better for that old noggin of yours.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's shitty.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because in my head I'm imagining, like, mentally I'm going in the opposite direction, where I imagine maybe this animosity about the taste comes from the fact that it's like, okay, we're watching another reality show. Like, if I got to pick every once in a while, I wouldn't be, like, growing this animosity about the content.
Right.
So maybe there's something there. I don't know.
I agree with that. All right. Here's our last story. Am I the asshole for refusing to tell my dad the missing parts to movies he misses? My dad, who's 54, always seems to come into the lounge when I'm halfway through a movie. I have no issue with that, as the lounge is a shared space, and he can do what he wants. My issue is that he will start asking me questions about the film I'm watching while I'm trying to watch it. Example would be if I'm watching Up, and he asked me where the old man was going, and why was he going on this adventure, and why can the dog talk, and what's the little boy doing? I didn't mind doing it occasionally, but it happens every time I watch a movie now, and it's super annoying. So I just started saying, you need to have watched from the beginning, or I don't know. He gets super annoyed whenever I do it, but I don't want to have to pause every movie I watch to explain it to him. And sometimes you need to finish the movie to understand, so I don't know what I can explain. I relate to this so heavily. My dad, I'm going to do an impersonation of my dad really quick. So it's the same exact thing. I'm always halfway through a movie. Growing up, I'd be halfway through some movie, and this is what he would do every time. So I'm here. My dad will come in and he'll be like, what you watching? Oh, so is that the bad guy? It was always, so is that the bad guy? It was always that.
Who do I hate?
And luckily he would just be like, wow, that's wild.
Do you know what's something that my family does, my dad especially does, that always annoys me? Sometimes I feel like they don't realize that I have a job. So I'll be like, for instance, I remember distinctly I was watching, like, a late stage episode of iCarly and taking notes, and I was watching the episode, and here's my impersonation. My dad goes, So at work today, I was talking to Billy, and I'm just typing, and I'm like, it just pretends I'm not doing anything.
Are you talking to me right now? Okay, so here's the two sides of it in my brain. A parent is trying to connect with you over something you're enjoying. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think at best, maybe I can give you one pause and I'll go, boop. Main point of the story is that little boy and that guy are going to go on an adventure, blah, blah, blah. Dog has a collar, blah, 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 and now we're at the continue.
I think
Boom. If I have to pause 4 or 5 times to answer questions,
Yeah.
I'll lose my goddamn mind.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on what your
Are there
relationship
people
with
here?
your father actually is. And I don't
Oh,
mean to
that's
get
scary.
but
I don't
it's
like that.
I really value getting to share anything with my dad under any context. So I feel like I would be like, oh my god, yeah, I gotta tell you about this goddamn Up movie, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is this dog? You know, I think I would.
How's your day?
I'd celebrate it.
It's always been endearing when my dad does it. It's just funny. But I also know my dad is not the type, like, he doesn't watch a lot of movies, so I know I'm also like, you don't really care. You're just making some conversation here.
At some point, is it about like, I want to interact, you know, because what else are we, you know, so for some families, I feel like it's like, what else are we going to say to each other?
Sure.
So I want to come in the room and be like, tell me about this stupid balloon movie.
Here's my thing about that, though. If you need your parent to connect with you and that's the only way they can do it, and they're going to ask questions constantly, you have to adjust your mindset. It's time to make it a game for yourself and start giving them wrong information.
Yes!
As they get more and more confused, you have to keep justifying it.
Yeah.
It's like, why can the dog talk? On this island, dogs can talk. Like,
Yeah.
you just have to say that.
He can't talk, they're crazy.
Yeah. That's not a little boy.
that old man-
That's a grown man as well. He got shrunk. He got shrunk. You'll see why in a minute.
Oh my god. Do you just put on Daddy Deck Chair and see if he's paying attention?
What?
What's Daddy Deck Chair?
Daddy Deck Chair is like, so do you know that Up is inspired by
really
kind of a
fucked
thing
up
really
that.
happened? You know that? This guy in his backyard, he
Sizing.
took like a chair
Yes.
and he attached balloons to
Yes, I do know
it.
that.
And so he floated around in the,
Oh,
in the
just
chair
fucked
for
up
a
the
while. I think
sizing,
it's in a
but-
museum somewhere. The Smithsonian asked for the chair. He said no. And then when a less good museum wanted it, he was like, wait, Smithsonian, please take the chair. And they wouldn't. So it's in a museum somewhere.
Wow.
So Daddy Deck Chair is another movie inspired by that, where it's another movie about a guy who gets attached with a bunch of balloons to it. And I remember we bought a VHS of it. It sat in the house for years, and I watched it. And there was a lot of sex scenes in that movie. And it was like, I was just...
Not what I thought you would say, Quentin.
Yeah, because it's just like the movie about this wacky guy that attaches balloons. It's a wild
just
story.
The whole time.
It's like the original Gone Girl. I don't know how to explain it. Because I'm telling you, the plot of the movie is that he's depressed, he attaches a bunch of balloons to the chair, and then he floats away, and his wife tries to find him, or his fiance tries to find him, but they're in a dysfunctional relationship, and she secretly doesn't want to find him, and he starts another life, and he gets undepressed, and there's like this... It's a bad movie.
I need to watch it on a plane.
So I think it would be really funny to switch from Up to Daddy Deck Chair and see if your dad notices. I think it's called Daddy...
I need to look up what he looks like.
It's Danny Deck Chair.
Daddy Deck Chair with a lot of...
Daddy, but he is daddy in
Giving me a
it.
very different vibe. I'm like, I don't think you were supposed to find that VHS tape in your home. It was like, yeah, I was hidden in a box in the back of my dad's closet.
It's really funny for me to imagine a kid watching that movie instead.
You're a very strange
like,
person,
this
aren't
is a
you?
different movie than people pitched it to me.
Very
It's not
strange.
as sad
You
as
do-
people said.
The verdict
Whatever.
was not the asshole. Not the asshole. This is the digital age. YouTube that shiz. Opie said, may suggest that to him. Someone said, not the asshole, but it sounds like your dad might want to spend some time with you, not just sit in the same room as you. Do you think he might want to spend more quality time with you? If so, have you suggested doing activities together? Opie said, we spend a lot of time together,
Doesn't
so
matter
that's
now.
not an issue. Most